आदर कौन लेके आया तू अपने साथ आज इस पॉडकास्ट में?
ये मेरे फ्रेंड्स है. This is the sun and the moon. These are artistic representations of the sun and the moon as pillows.
They are quite possibly the creepiest pillows I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
ये अच्छा, ये ऐसा बहुत ऐसा है, giving you the side eye. So
it looks like someone
अच्छा है.
sketched you.
I think that's why my wife bought it. ये मेरे तरह दिखता है, ये ऐसी सेट में आ गया साथ में.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो अपर्णा नहीं दिखती, वो भी तू ही दिख रहा है, वो भी
मैं
अरे
मेरे में
there
देख,
are two.
मैं कौन हूँ देख, टकिया. गुड गुड प्रोडक्शन वैल्यू. इधर अपन चांद पे रोवर भेज रहे हो, तू तकिया लेके आया पीछे.
Just depth.
इसी
small
बात पे
improvement.
सेगवे जीत रहे टू स्टार्ट ऑफ द एपिसोड. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Internet Set. So, a show we take random interesting various facts that develop personal stories and we talk about them. And today's episode is extremely special because अपन पहुंच गए हैं सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग करके मून पे. आई लाइक हाउ आई से अपन, जिसमें अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है जीरो, बट
Which is
क्रेडिट
which is
लेने
like
के लिए
every football fan supporting that team. हम लोग पहुंच गए.
Yeah, yeah.
हाँ, हम जीत गए.
हमको एम्बापे खरीदना है.
हाँ,
हम लोग अरे हमने
मेरा
खरीदा ना.
कंट्रीब्यूशन मैं दे रहा है ना. मैं 50 रुपए जीपे कर रहा हूँ अभी.
नहीं, बट देखो बता, तुम लोग ने किधर देखा जब लैंडिंग हो रहा था?
So मैं घर पे था because I was looking forward to it. I had set an alarm because I've been following it for the last 1 month.
Okay.
I found out on
And-
Twitter as Twitter started exploding with
Exploding.
yeah. I was like, oh my
Bro,
god.
मैं था जिम में, ठीक है, और उधर रखा था क्योंकि मेरा ट्रेनिंग का टाइम वो तो मैं मिस नहीं कर सकता, तो फोन पे था और उन्होंने चालू कर दिया. आई एम नॉट किडिंग, जो लास्ट का काउंटडाउन था ना, सब पब्लिक, अगर लोखंड वाला का बॉडी बिल्डर अपना डंबल छोड़ के टीवी की तरफ आ रहा है, मतलब कुछ भारी हिस्टोरिक हो रहा है. डूड, इट वाज मेंटल बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अस आर देयर. एक एक जैसे इतना सा टीवी है ऊपर, सब छोड़ के आके सब देख रहे हैं. जैसे लैंड हुआ, हम लोग ऐसे चिल्लाए, ताली वाली मार रहे हैं, पब्लिक दूसरे को हक कर रहा है. Dude, like this is what you see happen. You know, like अभी इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच, right? अभी कोहली ने उस दिन अपने इंडिया पाकिस्तान जिता दिया था. सेम, like this moment of just the entire country. You know that every single person at that point of time is feeling a version of what you are feeling while you're watching it. But I don't think ऐसे any other moment gets the country so close together. That you
Yeah.
you've forgotten everything, public छोड़ दिया, उसने डंबल रख दिया, सब आके देख रहे हैं. It's momentous, like to see that.
Also,
I-
to be the first, it's not just that. It's like four agencies, but we are the first ones to do what has just happened. No one has
To
done a
land
landing on
to
the
land
south
on the South Pole. Yeah,
South
correct.
Pole.
No, but this is so true because I was thinking the same thing. Like here is, I don't understand any of the science that went into making this happen, right? Can't even, like, if you asked me to begin telling you about it, I would say rocket go up, rocket like like it would be that. But
And funny part, rocket don't land. Rocket only go up,
Yeah.
then rocket
rocket go up, then now I've figured it. Now I've heard about the this thing. But essentially exactly my point. Ki knowing nothing about how it's still like the achievement itself was so significant in some way and so infectious. Like the minute it started, like I saw those ripples beginning, right? It was so it's so interesting. I've not had that feeling in a long time.
Long time, dude. And you know, when we used to sit watching documentaries of the space race, right? Like the US and the Soviet Union in the 50s and the 60s, how it was a matter of national pride. You know, you want to be, I'm the best, I'm the biggest superpower, falana timka, but the entire country coming together. You would watch a lot of those documentaries. I'm like, shit, yaar, अपने को भी ऐसा कभी होगा क्या इधर? You never thought all of this was going to happen, right? Because you're watching this back in the day where you're only seeing Western countries do shit, and then we send our Mars orbiter, right? You send Chandrayaan-1. chal, 2 didn't work, but still to get it up there, have the orbiter still, it's half a successful mission, but still.
I think
And
like
now this one.
Chandrayaan-2 failing might have been better as a getting attention on a world stage. Okay, oh, they tried, they failed, and then they nailed it a second time. I think that might have
You won't
gotten
believe
more attention for
when
Indians.
100% when the US and I saw this thing online, when the US and Russia at the peak of the space race tried to get a lander and a rover on the moon, bro, they failed their first 15 attempts.
Wow.
15. Can you do the math on that? 15 attempts failed. ठीक है, फिर 16वां उस पे जाके किया, फिर अमेरिका में फक इट, चल आदमी को डाल देते हैं, which is why funnily enough a human landing on the moon happened before a rover landing.
Hilarious.
So 69 में they landed, the astronauts landed, और 70 में रशिया का rover landed. तो rover in fact बाद में गया.
Yeah, because remote controlling something at that time.
No,
Now so we are
exactly,
way ahead.
Exactly.
That time trying to do it remotely is insane.
ब्रो उन लोग को 4 GB रैम पे कंप्यूटर पे पब्लिक मून पे भेज रहा है, और इधर ऐसे आईफोन एमबी पे, और इधर 256 कम है यार, स्लो हो रहा है मेरा फोन, वो 400 MB 4 MB आई डोंट नो व्हाट, इतने से करने का उन लोग मून पे रहे एस्ट्रोनॉट्स रोवर से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं ब्रो. मतलब आई एम टेलिंग यू ना, इवन यू डोंट इवन नीड टू नो द फिजिक्स बिहाइंड इट, द साइंस बिहाइंड इट, द एनीथिंग बिहाइंड इट, जस्ट इधर और मून और बातें ब्रो.
But did you guys know
seems like magic each time that it's happening.
We were in a race right now as well. Russia was scheduled to land 2 days before it. Russia had succeeded, we would have been second.
Yeah.
Or
so Russia launched after us. Russia launched after us. They went way faster. I think that's what kind of went wrong. Maybe is just they were going. I think they covered the distance in half the time or less than that, and they were about to land.
ज़्यादा propulsion हो गया.
हाँ, जल्दी में soft landing है sir, hard landing हो गया थोड़ा.
No, but you know, there was a Wall Street Journal post I was seeing where for Putin, this specific Luna mission was even more important. Because you have fallen back in the space race, so to speak. You have sanctions going on against you. So this is that one thing, again, even for a country like Russia that has landed Falana Dimka before, has done crazy work in space, right? For them also, it's a matter of sort of getting the people to bounce back, right? Because you can see Putin sort of feel that the Ukraine war itna time chal gaya. So even for them at this stage, that becomes a key moment to sort of get the country back up, you know, something like that. But kisi ka ek post tha where they said that, you know, the fact that it crashed, it's not something anybody will celebrate.
Yeah, no, nobody.
You know what I mean?
That. Yeah,
like even if you were to come second, you'd be like, I'm happy to come second as long as we have more and we are getting more, you know, information and learning more, so that future generations will benefit from it. So it's very unique to see stuff in space, right? People at loggerheads on that little blue dot suddenly go up, and then all like your boundaries, everything just disappears.
क्योंकि पर्सपेक्टिव मिलता है ना देखो
पूरा exactly.
क्योंकि जब तो बाहर जाता है और फिर देखता है, oh 1 second, so it's not like I mean we need visas on Earth, but when you see it from above you're like, oh you're all on this one little ball, right? So it's that, and then
I think एक astronaut ने बोला भी था, he went up and he came down and he's like, when you come back on Earth you want to go slap every politician that is trying to create, because it's like you see life from a very different perspective.
Because also this, na, like if you're in space, right, and you're that far away, after a point when you start missing home, right, of course you are thinking of your country and all of that stuff, but at one point you'll be like, bro मेरे को किधर भी land करा दे, it'll still be Earth. It'll still be a place where I can take off my helmet and breathe, right? Like it's that fucking crazy. It doesn't matter whether it's America, India, Tokyo, wherever it is. So
actually, you know, I think they should now allow, like, Indians when we are going abroad and traveling, right, when they say, sir, you don't have a visa, अपने को बोलना चाहिए, भाई हम लोग क्या करके आए, ठीक है, उधर किसी ने मांगा नहीं वीजा, हम लोग मस्त पे की पहुंचे हैं, तुम लोग के लिए हेल्प कर रहे हैं, तो भी जाने दो हम।
I have a feeling.
ये सब क्रेडिट
एक चालू
अब
है
हमको
No,
देना।
no.
लूनार एम्बेसी.
In exactly 60 years, there will be one Cheknaka that will be created in the stratosphere. जिधर सारे रॉकेट्स रुकेंगे 75 रुपीज.
स्मार्ट
ले
कार्ड
रहे।
खत्म हो गया है, स्मार्ट कार्ड खत्म हो गया है.
नहीं नहीं,
आई
फिर
थिंक वहां
डबल
पे भी
लेना।
जाने का 75 ही है तेरा अमाउंट, कौतुक.
तू तू प्लीज कभी भी कोई भी स्पेस प्रोग्राम को हेड मत करना. So,
70 रुपए
so,
देता.
so I have a brilliant plan to tax the stratosphere. Oh, really? Go ahead, Kautuk, tell us. Sir, what we can do now, sir? We can just be there, we stop them and they say, hey, 75 rupees. And if say their smart card is not filled, so they have to pay double and go from the other queue, sir. They'll waste time. Okay.
There'll be one guy who will just
ये ना. अब वो छुट्टा तो एक टोल नाका होगा और बीच में एक आदमी ऐसे स्पेस सूट में बीच में होगा टू हैंड द मनी ओवर फ्रॉम दिस टोल नाका टू द गाय इन द कार.
He's tethered to the space station while he's
या.
moving. जाओ जाओ उधर को है, चना चाहिए चना, अबे चल हट, मून पे जा रहा है, चना दे रहा है. ओके.
I still remember the joke Varun used to do कि वरुण स्पेसक्राफ्ट में जा रहा है and what's the worst thing to do as an astronaut. तो वरुण अपना खिड़की ऐसे नीचे करता था और पूछता था बॉस मून कैसे जाते हैं.
मार्स के जाना है, मार्स राइट लू इधर से. ओके ओके.
man.
Bro, so you know, every time like ISRO does a mission like that, right? Because we are known to do insane work for space, but at a fraction of the cost that the
Yeah.
other countries are doing it at. So जब Mars orbiter mission किया था, oh, it was cheaper than gravity, which it was. Okay, then
Yeah.
making the movie Gravity. अभी आया Interstellar. Interstellar was 165 million to make. We've sent Chandrayaan mission in 75 million.
Man. So one like in rupees, the figure I'd heard was it's about 615 crore. Okay.
Crores, yeah, yeah.
Right now that's 15 crores more than Adipurush.
Oh,
To give you
shit.
context. So here's my solution for space exploration. For every one movie T series makes, they should send one rocket.
एक मिनट, तू क्या बोल रहा है? आदि पुरुष
for
को
me,
बनाने
one
के
for
लिए 600 करोड़ लगे थे?
Yes, yes.
नहीं यार.
Yes.
On what? On what? Bro, I saw it. I watched it on Netflix. अभी आया, मैं बोला चल इधर देख लेता हूँ. Dude, I remember my PlayStation 1 games had better graphics. Tomb Raider खेला तो उसपे ज्यादा better graphics है. इस पे क्या चल रहा है, bro?
Bro, when those
Oh my
demons or whatever they are, when they're running, that stock footage, oh my lord.
Dude, it's so annoying. I think 600 करोड़ में से 500 करोड़ उसका एप्स बनाने पे गए होंगे. Because I think you know, the whole, sorry to digress, but there was, I think in the 2.5 hour movie, there was 45 minutes of Prabha just
Yeah.
and everything happening around him.
Yeah.
He just gets up, stares intensely. Gets up, stares instead. मतलब क्या? कुछ भी चल रहा है, bro.
It's such a it's dude.
It's so badly made.
We started watching it on a Sunday, thinking that it'll be like whatever 2.5 hours. We had to watch it in installments.
Yeah.
And then at one point we were like, I just want to finish it because I've gotten this far and I didn't understand sunk cost fallacy.
That's exactly where we are, because it came to a point where अभी 20 मिनट बचा है, देखे क्या? हाँ, देखना तो चाहिए. नहीं देखा है. Because I watched it in 6 parts, because every 20 minutes I just look at myself like, why am I doing this? Why am I watching it? Then you pause, तू भंकस करेगा, चल अभी कुछ नहीं, चल देख ले. रात को सोते वक्त कुछ लगा रहे ताकि चलते रहे, फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
थिएटर में भी पब्लिक ऐसा बोल रहा है, लाइक if people had the option, प्लीज 2 मिनट थोड़ा रेस्ट चाहिए हम लोग को, बाहर जाने दो, थोड़ा डाइजेस्ट करना है, क्या देखिए.
But imagine, like, I didn't even see it in 3D. It must be even more painful to have that thing come closer to you.
ये देख और देखना नहीं देखना मुझे, प्लीज जा.
उसका 2-3 रेंडर बाकी है यार.
Yeah.
स्पीकिंग ऑफ रेंडर्स, चंद्रयान का वो देखा था तुम लोग ने जो आ रहा था अलग से, Because at one point I thought they were not going to show us only ke kya ho raha hai, but now they'll release
Oh,
the photos.
the animation.
Yeah, initially I thought animation chal raha hai, and they're like, oh, abhi tak land nahi hua hai, but that was the actual thing that was happening, but they were not sure. Like that was what they were showing in real time.
But somewhere I read that they were actually going to have one of those, the cameras that are attached to the outer thing. So when the lander is coming down, when it's descending, that camera comes on and you can see the surface of the
There
moon.
is. So some people have noticed that India hasn't officially released photos because I think they want to control the release of images. But there are images from the ISRO, जो उनका क्या बोलते हैं उसको, where everybody is sitting and planning it out. Mission control. So mission control में images में लोग zoom in करके देख रहे हैं कि yes, we can see the images from the lander.
Wow.
So those are the leaked images.
But आज निकल रात को देखा था ना, जब when they open the door and the Pragyan rover is supposed to go out, just that image from the side where you can see the shadow coming and you look down and you're like SV road, you know what I mean? But it's crazy to just see that अपना photo है, bro. It's not some NASA, European Space Agency, China. नहीं, अपना या हम लोग ने लिया.
Yeah. Dude, and that again, I'm asking this question. I never fail to not ask it. Listen, why can't we just hand over Vodafone's entire network to ISRO?
Just
Because I swear to God, every single time I call somebody, I have to call them 3 times. Because the first one time they can't hear me, second time I can't hear them. Then third time it connects properly. And
I think Vodafone actually uses the moon as a satellite to bounce signals. उनका अर्थ स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर में नहीं, वो लोग मून को ही यूज कर रहे. सर सॉरी, मून चला गया, अभी आपका फोन नहीं लगेगा.
यार प्रज्ञान रोवर मून से भेज रहा है फोटो, राइट, और इधर डाउनलोड हो रहा है, मस्त, नो प्रॉब्लम.
यहाँ पे मेरा व्हाट्सएप में फोटो नहीं जा रहा.
कम ऑन यार, क्या चल रहा है?
Coming back to the Chandrayaan missions in general, right? अपने 3 ये third था, because even it was the first Chandrayaan mission that actually reignited public के अंदर the thing for the moon. And when I say public, I mean other space agencies. Because after the 70s, they had stopped sending because that novelty of, once you made a man reach the moon, you're like, भाई हो गया ना, अभी इसके बाद क्या? ठीक है.
So, but there was also one more thing that Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about. He's like, it's not only that cooled it off. He was saying it was also the fact that largely it was all being driven by this competitive rivalry. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, America said, I put money into that. Who are we competing with? Yaar? What is this exploration?
No, but I'm saying they anyway stopped. 1972 was the last moon mission. उसके बाद moon गए नहीं है US. The 12 people who walked on the moon have all been Americans. That was 72. But उसके बाद they have not done anything. In 2008, when the first Chandrayaan mission went, their mission objective was basically it was called an impact mission. So the point was not to orbit around the moon or soft land. It was actually to go crash. And your entire way down, in whatever analysis the onboard equipments can do, they do it. And while doing it, they had found that there is water in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
और जब भी जाके क्रैश हुआ है, राइट, तो उससे भी तेरा पूरा सॉइल सेटलमेंट रॉक वॉक सब उड़े हैं. That also it has analyzed. And the reason they are going to the South Pole is also because it's long believed that there is ice water there.
And
believe नहीं, India discovered it in 2008.
हाँ रे, उसके पहले भी था मून पे कहाँ होगा, तो the only possibility was that कि उधर ये, because that part is minus 232 degrees Celsius, I remember.
काफी
तो
मतलब it's like
तो उधर आइस वाटर हो सकता है. हाँ मतलब एक स्वेटर पहनना पड़ेगा.
Typical Bombay winter.
और bro, imagine that this mission is only for half the month, because for the remaining time अभी 14 दिन का sunlight है, उसके बाद 14-15 दिन it's going to be no sun, and that's when the temperatures drop so cold. So technically all the instruments will stop working. But there is a chance that once the sun is back, that they may start. But this is again up in the air. Imagine you're sitting here making this whole thing for 14 days. For 14 days, that's all the length of time that you have. कि इतने में मेरे को करना है. So 23rd or 24th was one possible option. अगर वो टाइम पे नहीं होता बराबर, they were going to move it to September. to do it, because they have only that much of a window to be able to
Also, I think
figure it
Moon
out.
is on the trajectory on a closer orbit to the Earth right now. So I think it's all like very specifically timed. So 30th August is going to be super blue moon, I think. So super blue moon is going to be about 16,000 miles closer than it usually is. So it's going to
16,000 miles
be
closer. Wow.
closer than it usually is. So it's like it's quite huge in the atmosphere,
And
in the sky.
get ready for badly taken pictures of moon on
Yeah.
Instagram stories for that entire evening.
Man,
थोड़े जो
yesterday
actual
again.
astro photographers अच्छे लेकिन but बाकी
No, but this is so true. Like again, yesterday I tried through my window. The clouds had finally parted, and I was like, oh, I could see the moon. So I was like, let me take a picture. This is a nice day to do it. I opened my phone camera, right? I don't know what it is, man. This my phone camera and moon not compatible. Like I can see with my naked eye, beautiful moon with phone,
oh,
white blob.
It's like,
street
oh, I see
lights,
such a
street lights.
beautiful moon. Let me take my phone out. Yeah.
It looks like bird shit on my phone. That's what it looks
Yeah.
It probably is got to clean your phone.
like.
Yeah.
तो तू फोन को सुखाने क्यों रखता है बाहर?
No, but one other thing about it, like apart from the like there's the science and all of that stuff, but then the other stuff that I found very nice and refreshing and interesting was that for once there was this celebration of our present and enthusiasm for the future, which is like usually there's so much talk about the past, right? Which is nice. I mean, you should remember your history, but I think to see a whole country come together and celebrate an achievement of the present and like visions of the future, that's so refreshing for me to have
Dude,
these constant discussions and chatter about it. Beautiful.
100%. Yesterday's day will mark that day that 20, 30 years from now, they're going to be brilliant scientists, astrophysicists, you name it, people in the scientific field. And 9 out of 10 will credit what happened yesterday as the reason for why they are where they are. You know what I mean? Like that, the hunger for scientific growth, as was seen during the space race in the US and Soviet Union. Same thing even for us, because to ek bar, I was watching this brilliant interview from this new scientist. She's going to be a part of the Artemis mission. Okay, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So she had said that her seeing one of the launches, I forget, sorry, which one it was. She had gone there with her parents, and because there it's a scene. You go and you have a proper viewing area. वहां से दूर है और public उधर बैठ के दारू पी रहा है, sunbed लगा के. It's a proper event that happens. I hope we get to do that. I'm sure इधर शेरिकोटा में भी आसपास कुछ करेंगे eventually, if it's not already there. She said that single moment of seeing that rocket go up, right, and just seeing it go up into the atmosphere, out into the cloud. She said that's the day I decided that this is what I want to do. Yeah. And her entire life post that has been shaped by that one. And this is just seeing the rocket take off, right? We are ghumawing a rover on the moon right now.
Yeah.
So for all the young people, young adults who are interested in the field, this just becomes like somebody in the past watching Dhoni hit a six and like, shit, mere ko bhi cricketer banna hai. You know what I mean? It's that.
So for all we know, in 2050, there will be the chairman of ISRO who will come on TV and will say this. He will say that I remember this moment when Chandrayaan landed and I was at the gym and I put down my dumbbell.
I put my weights down.
कोई और भी होगा.
Maybe you were working out with the chairman, the next chairman
you don't
of ISRO.
know,
You don't know, man.
So tell us about a story. I was a struggling actor till I was 36 years old, and then
I saw
I'm heading
Chandrayaan-3 land, and I decided I'm going to go back to college.
Yeah, but I mean, why can't a person who's working out become the chairman of ISRO?
वो soft landing खुद ही करेगा, वो moon पे आएगा और उसपे से softly रखेगा.
And here we have the rover. His name is Akash. He is going to bench press.
First man to do bench press with a rover on the moon. First for India.
He hasn't taken his space suit, but the protein shake Protechecker is there.
Oh, he's lost the Protechecker. The Protechecker is flying away because of the low gravity of the moon.
Oh man. Yeah, but 100%, you're 100% right. I feel like here's the other thing I want to talk about, right? Which is that um also a celebration of not just science but scientific thinking, right? Like, because a lot of stuff comes with it. So curiosity, uh, critical thinking, just these things that a willingness, a humility in front of data, right? That kind of stuff, like, is so, it's so nice to have those things enshrined and like looked up to and celebrated. Because in general, like, there's it's such a difficult, like, to have a country celebrate these kind of things. Like, I wish there comes a day when sending rockets into space exploration, scientific thinking, all of these things become like election voting topics. When like someone stands for an election and says ki bro मैं और भेजूंगा मार्स.
मैं Saturn पे गया.
Ha, like, I hope that we reach that day as well. It'll be outstanding. But 100%, like, we need uh, uh, more and more days like this. And here's another thing that's worth talking about. This again was coming from an interview that Neil deGrasse Tyson did after the Chandrayaan thing. So one very valid question, especially for a country like ours, is that, is it, when you have so many other places that could use the money, is it morally, ethically right to use it for space
He
exploration?
loses it in this interview, I remember.
Yeah, and I liked the argument that he had. Everyone can have a different view on it, but I liked the argument, which he said that, look, yes, the immediate distribution of resources could be done for all sorts of different things, but the long-term effects of something like space exploration are profound. And at
100%.
the end of the day, if you want to raise a country out of poverty, then science and technology is probably your best bet to do it.
Yeah, but the thing is,
And
like, the more you try to create tech that is further ahead of its time to do something, the further you're advancing medical tech, you're advancing engineering,
that was
you're
his whole
so
point.
much more.
Like the fact that, like, the space missions, they seem to be like a symbol for greater scientific and technological advancement, right?
Yeah.
It's a symbol, like, it's a part of a much larger conversation that needs to be had, that needs to be sort of like kept at the forefront of our progress and conversation for progress, right?
बीच
And
में
if you
बहुत
do
गुस्सा होकर
that,
बोल रहा था कि
chances are that it'll help the country.
He was like, the corporate bailouts were way higher than the entire budget for NASA. So compared, let's put things in perspective. बहुत
No,
गुस्सा होता है when somebody says.
and 100%, bro, because putting money and time behind space exploration and the impact that it has on generations to come, and it's something you've already seen happen. There's
Yeah.
clear case to prove that putting more effort and time into this, or okay, maybe not making it your priority, but making it one of your main priorities as a country, will lead to a generation of kids growing up having scientific thinking, wanting to pursue it. Eventually, these kids are the ones that are going to shape your country's future, right? So you
Yeah.
are sowing the seeds for something that will show bear fruit 30 years later, but it's going to be a big impact. It's not something like abhi ka to thoda sa hoga. Nahin. It's going to have a profound impact
And it's
on
the
it. So,
budget of one movie. This mission was एक movie ka budget. Let's, like, just to put things in perspective.
and right
But even
before sometime back, the budget for ISRO was cut. You know
Yeah.
what is ISRO's budget? It's 1.5 billion. You know what is NASA's budget? 25 billion.
yeah, so yeah, 25, 26, something like that. Yeah.
25 billion compared to 1.5 billion. So I feel not only are our scientists insane in terms of how they are able to achieve things big countries with 10 times the budget are not able to do, and still continue to do and reach this is your third Chandrayaan mission. You have soft landed. Like, I mean, I'm just जितना पढ़ते जा रहा हूँ ना, it's just, even if I'm reading the same thing again and again, it is just continuously blowing my mind every 2 minutes. So जब से landing हुआ ना, some memes have been in insanely funny, and a lot of faux pas. Because I watched a video where Mamata Banerjee is giving a speech, and in the speech she's talking
Yeah.
about when Indira Gandhi had asked Rakesh Sharma.
Yeah.
So she has mixed that up, and she's like, when Indira Gandhi had asked Rakesh Roshan when he went to the moon कि ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है, and he had said
जादू
सारे
जादू
जादू.
को लेके आए. I think she
तो
got
सब पब्लिक.
confused with जादू.
But the thing is that राकेश बोलने के बाद सीधा रोशन. तो आधे पब्लिक वही पूछ रहे थे, तो लगता है जादू को राकेश जी लेके आए थे. राकेश रोशन को इंदिरा गांधी ने पूछा.
But the image is so good. It's so good. Someone needs to
Yeah.
make this version of history
Because
where Rakesh Roshan is the first person to go to space.
And he has communicated with oh. इधर इसरो वाले बोले ये क्या है. Oh, it's communication.
and light is reflected off him more than the moon.
Because he's still because he was in space, the other rover went landed on him. So they got
Yeah.
confused. Sir, moon कौन सा है और आपका टकला कौन सा है?
आपका
But
चांद रोशन चेहरा.
एक वो पाकिस्तान से भी बहुत फनी वीडियो आया था ना कि
Yeah.
कोई बॉक्स काउंट कर रहा है और जाके पूछता है अरे इंडिया अभी चांद पे गया, आपको कैसे लग रहा है? तो पाकिस्तानी कहते हैं अरे हम भी तो चांद पे. इंडिया कह रहे आप ऐसे कैसे बोल रहे हो, आप कैसे चांद पे हो? देखो चांद पे पानी है, बोलते नहीं है, यहाँ भी नहीं है. चांद पे बिजली है, बोलते नहीं है, बोलते यहाँ पे भी नहीं है.
Hilarious.
That was too funny, bro.
चांद पे breathable हवा है, यहाँ पे भी नहीं.
But there was one like the talking of faux pas, right? There were like some interviews, like someone made like a mashup of people going to ministers and asking them their opinion of the Chandrayaan-3 mission. So one guy saying, नहीं बहुत बढ़िया काम किया है. I would like to thank NASA.
अरे.
Then another person said,
कुछ लोग को होता है ना, I think news reporters just go to people without, it's like आपका इसके like celebrities कभी मूवी प्रमोट कर रहे होते हैं ना, तो उनको randomly पूछ लेते हैं about something else that they have no idea about, and then they try to faff their way through. I think that is what's happening to a lot of people.
Dude,
right
I
now.
remember they had asked, I forget who, like a cricketer, some cricketer, they had asked about the budget. And he was like, मैं क्या ही बताऊं तुझे?
पता नहीं आज.
So, but there was another guy. I think this is a minister, the sports minister of Rajasthan, I think.
Rajasthan, yeah.
I'm mistaken. So they asked him about Chandrayaan. So he says कि again, congratulations, बहुत अच्छा काम किया है. हाँ, और जो यात्री गए हैं,
यात्री उसको लग रहा है विक्रम लैंडर और प्रज्ञान योग.
विक्रम
और प्रज्ञान दोनों गए मून पे.
और विक्रम का सरनेम लैंडर है और प्रज्ञान का रोवर है, और ये यात्री मून पे गए.
एनआरआई इंडियन बच्चे हमारा नाम रोशन करते हुए.
You know, as a minister, whichever party, whichever state, the least that is expected of you when your country does something as monumental as this is read. एक पढ़ ले या तेरे को असिस्टेंट को बोल कि कुछ
एक
तो
बंदे
बोल.
को रख लेना कि सर ये क्वेश्चन ज्यादा आने वाले हैं क्योंकि ये ट्रेंड हो रहा है, बस बेसिक.
But that would be amazing, dude, if we had actually sent two men called Vikram Lander and Rover.
अपने next one of the next missions is going to be this Gaganyaan, which is going to be a manned mission.
गगन जाएगा. Only Gagans are allowed on that flight.
Vikram and Pragyan.
और कोई allowed ही नहीं.
ये तीसरा बंदा जो था प्रोपल्शन मॉड्यूल, वो थोड़ा अलग नाम है.
बहुत ही.
फिर एक ऑर्बिटर भी तो है.
It's madness.
God.
Truly madness.
So the thing is, like, I've started noticing what do you think, since we're talking about people who have no clue, flat earthers?
अरे क्या कैसे भाई अपने?
So it's just I went down a rabbit hole about, because the flat earthers believe.
Did you go down a rabbit hole or a rabbit line? Was
rabbit
it
flat.
round
Rabbit
or
to a rabbit. Just a two-dimensional.
Hmm.
So the flat earthers believe that the moon is spherical, but
Yes.
the earth is flat.
Oh my God.
Yes, but if you ask the flat mooners, they believe that the moon is flat, but Earth is round.
but Aadar, how do they justify this? Like what? They can see a
So,
ball, so easily.
so it is so difficult to understand because I've actually like we've had an education, and then you realize how do you break that format and try to visualize this it's like try to think in a four-dimensional plane because your mind is not capable because you've been taught a certain way. तो इन लोग का लॉजिक क्या है कि द सन एंड द मून आर ऑर्बिटिंग द नॉर्थ पोल कॉन्स्टेंटली so that is why you see and this it's like so it comes here तो मून आ जाता है तो ये साइड पे अर्थ के डार्कनेस होती है फिर उसके बाद ऐसे तो they are just constantly doing this. Now if that is the case there can never be a lunar eclipse.
No,
So
no.
then they have an explanation for that also. It's called the shadow object, which we cannot see. That is usually hidden behind the sun, and then it comes out and hides the moon, and then goes back and hides behind the sun. It's called the shadow object.
I feel like
sometimes to explain to people things that we just consider as कि ये है fundamentally और है अभी मैं I can't explain to you. These are some facts that I wish you come already knowing and agreeing with, and then we have other discussions. कि तू अच्छा नहीं है, तेरा ये अच्छा नहीं है, इसका वेदर ऐसा चलेगा. तू मेरे को फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल आके तू गलत चालू कर रहा है. फ्लैट अर्थर्स का एक था ना, फ्लैट अर्थर्स हैव मेंबर्स ऑल अराउंड द ग्लोब.
Yeah.
क्या खुद ही हगेश.
dude, I feel like it's such a wonderful scam where you become such a hardcore flat earther, right? You become so entrenched and so vocal and so loud that someone gives you a free ride to space so that you can see the earth once and for all.
तो लेकिन अगर वो टाइम के बाद भी तू कन्विंस नहीं है, तू बोल रहा है कि अर्थ फ्लैट है, लेकिन अभी वो ऐसा नहीं, वो ऐसा हो गया और मैं इधर हूँ इसलिए मेरे को फ्लैट है, ये नहीं, तू उधर से भेकेश उसको बाहर कि भाई तू जा, कुछ मास्क कुछ नहीं, ऐसे ही तू फ्लोट हो जा, अभी निकल इधर से. क्योंकि देयर इज दैट वन फेमस फ्लैट अर्थर ब्रो, व्हाट्स हिज नेम, मैं इसके ऊपर डॉक्यूमेंट्री देखा था. सो आई फील इसके साथ क्या हुआ है मालूम है, क्योंकि एज इफ यू नोटिस यूएस में ना, तो तेरे ऐसे चल जाते, मतलब तू कुछ भी है ना तो आके ऐसे बोल दिया, तेरे को कोई ऑनलाइन फोरम पे मिल जाते 25 लोग, 25 के 250 के 5000, अभी तुम लोग एक सीन बना दिए. तो नाउ यू लाइक फक, अभी ये है, आगे मैं इधर उधर जाके कॉन्फ्रेंस करो, पब्लिक आ रही है, क्योंकि पब्लिक के पास बहुत फ्री टाइम है. जैसे अपने इधर पब्लिक के पास पूरे दुनिया में, ठीक है, सब अलग अलग कंट्री में लोगों के पास फ्री टाइम है. तो दिस गाय इज जस्ट लाइक, अरे मैं जा रहा हूँ 200 लोग आगे देखने के लिए, तो यू स्टार्ट लाइक अनलर्निंग आई थिंक वट एवर यू न्यू, बिकॉज this guy in his mid 30s or whatever suddenly woken up and नहीं, और फ्लैट है, ठीक है. तभी तक सब ठीक था, फिर उसको पब्लिक मिल गई. आई थिंक he's pulled the ruse so far ahead that he can't now suddenly turn back. Because क्योंकि उसने merch announce कर दिया, merch
and he
पहन
can't
रहा है
turn
public.
back. Technically he can't turn back because if he keeps going he will actually end up in the same place and he doesn't realize that's what it means. Sorry.
There was another documentary on flat earthers I'd seen where this guy says that I've got this experiment, okay? I don't know the exact mechanics of it.
Podcast में किया, मेरे को बहुत लोग भेजते हैं.
There's this exact experiment and this will 100% prove it. He does it and it proves the exact opposite.
That the earth is round.
Bro, but
लोग उसको भी चेंज करेगा कि नहीं, एक्चुअली क्या है ना, लोग मैं एक दूसरा लेके आता हूँ, उसमें तो कंफर्म, एंड इट्स जस्ट दे आल्सो नो, इट्स जस्ट यू प्लेड द दिस फॉर सो लॉन्ग कि अभी मैं चूतिया लगूंगा. मैं वैसे भी चूतिया लग रहा हूँ, बट एटलीस्ट मैं चूतिया लगे पैसे तो कमा रहा हूँ. If I turn around
100%.
So
and go back.
There's a Buddhist story about this idea that so I found this story randomly about the moon. So it's a Buddhist story in which 500 monkeys decide to hold each other's tails. So this is I don't know how this happened. It just cosmically aligned that I'm looking at stories about the moon and then monkey story shows up. I think it's my algorithm now.
It aligned because it aligned because you said you went to Google and then you typed moon plus monkey.
No, I didn't do Moon plus Monkey. I was just looking at Moon Facts, and I was on, I think, page 18 or something. So, this is a Buddhist story in which 500 monkeys decide to hold on to each other's tails
Hmm.
and try to grab the reflection of a moon inside a well. So, well, mein, they form a chain and they're trying to grab the image of the moon. And the branch that they're holding on to from outside breaks and they all fall inside. It's a story about an unenlightened people who cannot distinguish reality and illusion.
Hmm. Perfect. Flat earthers. Flat
Flat
earthers are
earthers.
essentially 500 monkeys holding on.
500 monkeys holding on to each other's tail in a well.
One more thing, which was really nice. The director of ISRO, he was doing an interview after um, the thing landed, and he was talking about this thing. So they asked him, uh, what did you feel? Were you very nervous? What was it like? And he says, look, we had done, it was such a beautiful example of the kind of thinking that goes into it and the kind of like even the philosophy behind it, right? So he says that, look, we had done every single thing that we could have possibly done, and if something went wrong, it would be something beyond what we could have done, and so there was no point worrying about that. And that's the kind of like, clear-headed
Life
thinking.
philosophy.
Yeah, dude, it's stoic in the best possible way. That's the kind of thing that gets big things done like this. So in that same trajectory, I just also want to quickly just mention some of the names of the scientists who are behind the success of Chandrayaan-3. So we'll start with S. Somnath, who was the chairman of ISRO. Then you had P. Veera Muthuvel, who was the project director. You had S. Unikrishnan Nair, who was the director of the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. You had B.N. Ramakrishnan, the director of ISTRAC, and Mohan Kumar, mission director. M. Sankaran, who was director of U.R. Rao Satellite Center. Kalpana K, the deputy project director, and Muthaya Vanita, who was the deputy director of the U.R. Rao Satellite Center. So just these are very few people, but worth mentioning. And that's the other thing. Like, I feel like we don't know enough about the people who are behind the scenes. I think, like, to just go on a small tangent and to illustrate this point. So, when Drive to Survive, the documentary on F1 came out on Netflix, right? It gave a huge boost to Formula One in general, because it wasn't just about the sport, it was about the people behind the sport. And the minute, like, the science and the space and all of that stuff might be very abstract and esoteric and difficult to comprehend, but the stories of the people are accessible and easy to understand. And if we are able to tell more of these stories, I think it'll do so much more for all of the other stuff to come. So essentially what I'm saying is make a Drive to Survive ISRO edition.
They have, by the way, one which is the story of ISRO, narrated by Harsha Bhogle. So this goes back into the time when
that's right.
Pandit Nehru commissioned this, and you had Vikram Sarabhai and Homi Bhabha.
Even
It's
Rocket
also
Boys.
illustrated in Rocket Boys, and how with barely any money at that point of time to have the see, credit where it's due, right? To have the foresight when India was a young nation, 10 years, 12 years of independence, right? There is so much to take care of, but uske beech mein bhi to have the foresight between all of these great leaders behind it who said that, nahi, you have to do it now. If imagine if they hadn't done it then, if they said, no, there's no money for space research, we have just become a country, let's put it to some other thing, public welfare, agriculture, whatever. कि जितना भी पैसा दिया उतना भी नहीं देके और किधर करते, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right. And you know that amazing picture we talk about always, to see the rocket on a bicycle, जो sounding rocket पहला गया था,
बहुत सारा
that,
ऐसा फोटोज आ रहा है अभी, लाइक वो साइकिल पे लेके जा रहा है,
bro, एक पूरा rocket का part of the body has been carried in a bullock cart.
Yeah.
Right. So from there to see this means you have set up proof of what scientific thinking and that push towards science can do for you as a nation. So
So
insane.
there's some myth busting I've got about the moon.
हाँ.
One important thing is, contrary to what nursery rhymes suggest, the moon is not made of cheese. This is for
Okay.
all our young listeners. Uh, Acha, the moon is slowly going away from the Earth
हाँ.
at 1.5 inches per year.
And we are going closer to it every year. We are on it.
That is the. Acha, who
But
was the first? What were the first creatures on the moon?
creatures.
Creatures, not like were first living
Oh,
things
wait,
on the moon.
are they tardigrades?
No, no, no.
Tardigrade
नहीं,
वहां
to
से अर्थ
land
पे
on
है.
the moon, from Earth to the moon. What were the first living beings?
Was
It
it's
will,
not humans
bro,
then, no?
not humans.
हाँ,
Human excreta.
it'll be
Human
animals.
shit.
हम लोग क्या टट्टी फेंक रहे हैं क्या हम लोग across?
नहीं, टट्टी छोड़ के टट्टी के अंदर थोड़े ऑर्गेनिजम्स,
No, no, no. Very
माइक्रो
conscious.
ऑर्गेनिज्म.
What was the conscious flight that we do? Were the first beings
Was
that
it
we
an
sent on the
insect?
moon?
Was it like a cockroach or something like that?
No, 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 no. It was a mammal.
Mammal? Oh
Yeah.
God, it's a
अबे
dog.
पहला
Well,
ऊपर
mammal, omnivores actually. Omnivores.
पहला मंकी गया था. तू मून पे बोल रहा है कि
Moon
फर्स्ट
pe, moon
एनिमल इन
pe, moon pe.
मंकी.
No, there were two Russian tortoises named Goliath and Tama
They landed
in
on the moon?
1968. Yeah,
They landed on
अभी
the
उधर,
moon?
तो अभी
yeah.
रहेश उधर क्या क्या कर रहे हैं?
Oh
पता नहीं,
no.
मर गए होंगे यार बेचारे.
हाँ,
The
थोड़े.
tortoises live very long. I think their logic was that tortoise can live very long. The tortoise
Bro,
can.
Yeah, but they
और
need
कुछ
to
हो
be
भी गया तो
fed.
उसका शेल में वो घुस जाएगा अगर कुछ.
By the way, contrary to what people think, that they say, oh, the tortoise went inside the shell. No,
No.
technically, it's actually the part of its body. So it's not like कि वो एक शर्ट पहना है शेल का, नहीं. उसका नेक है, नेक के बाद शेल ही है, हॉलो है, और फिर पैर है उसके. और ये किसी ने मेरे को ऐसे दिखा,
जादुई
माइंड
जादुई
ब्लोन.
चिराग नहीं है. It's like
मेरे
your
को पूरा
nails.
टाइम लग रहा था कि ऐसे जाके वो निकाल सकता है अपना शेल और अंदर वैसे नंगा है, लेकिन नहीं है ही नहीं अंदर कुछ.
This is why I mentioned the cheese fact, because Varun's space facts are coming from cartoons. Space
हाँ.
इसलिए cheese वाला fact बोलना जरूरी.
By the way, if you have some time and you would like to, look up some interesting, crazy things, we've spoken about this before, but it's worth like looking into it in a little bit of more detail. So there's a whole Wikipedia page called NASA spin-off technologies. Okay, these are technologies that were developed for space that eventually found use on Earth for all sorts of different things. So one thing was more comfortable underwear.
सवाल ब्रो.
No,
स्पेस में
because
जा
you
रहे हैं
can't.
तो
अगर तेरे को खुजली हुआ, imagine तेरे को खुजली, you cannot get through from your space suit.
Yeah.
And imagine अगर वो बीच में चला गया. Imagine you're on the moon and you're just constantly thinking कि ओ मेरे butt crack में underwear चला गया, मेरे को बस खींच के बाहर निकालने का साइड से.
imagine
of spacesuit.
getting a veggie. अरे
Yeah, that's
जा
what.
रहे नहीं. You can't play pocket tennis.
Can I tell you something, Aadar? NASA had developed a technology, an anti-scratch the glass ka surface.
For
Because
the
helmet visors and shit would get scratched and you can't see, right? So in space, like, kya karega? So they're like, ek anti-scratch banate. And they made it. And I'm like, why hasn't this come to Lenskart?
Yeah.
तो डालना है.
जब तुम फ्लाई करके जा रहा है तो वो टोल नाका पे पहुंचता है स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर में, और बाद में एक बंदा आके तेरा वो भी साफ कर रहा है.
So the future of space technology also is going to be very interesting, because we're entering like this. We're finally getting to the point where 2-3 very interesting things are happening. Private space companies, right? Like your SpaceX, and India has like a whole list of them. So there's going to be like private players who are going to start trying to capitalize on space exploration, tourism, all of that stuff. It's going to lead to a whole bunch of different new amazing things, right? So they've already have plans of doing like a space hotel. Okay, which will be like, it's essentially, think of it like the space station but with room service. तो तू जा उधर डॉक कर, सर सर आपका आधार कार्ड, सर रूम नंबर 30. और तू
But
मस्त
that is
देख
the
उधर
point of the mission, right? They're trying to find the water is how it can sustain a lunar colony. The
हाँ,
Chandrayaan
so
3,
That's what I'm trying to say. I was trying to say where you look at the change in language. We'll go to the moon before this decade to show that we are the thing. अभी हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि उधर जाके पानी ढूंढ रहे हैं क्योंकि उधर जब ये कॉलोनी बनेगी if we're going to use it as a stop to go to other planets. So
तो
जब
टंकी
उधर
तो
कॉलोनी
बनाने का ना
होगी
हम लोग को,
तो अपने
पानी का
को
टंकी.
पानी तो I love it. I love how this is just regular conversation and
so
we are a part of it. Love
Thakur,
it.
you know what the moon is going to become. So remember when we go from Mumbai to Pune to do a show,
Yeah.
we stop
It's
at one place to eat
yeah. It's going to be
McDonald's.
the food mall. It's food mall. उधर दत्ता वड़ा पाव भी होगा मस्त पे के मैं दत्ता वड़ा पाव के लिए तो अपना स्पेस सूट खोल दूं कंफर्म
किसी ने वो
सर यू
किया
वोंट
था
बी
ना
एबल
कि
टू ईट चलेगा हाय
Indians are such I think कोई कार्टून था and like it got really popular, like Indians are such great businessmen या कुछ, where the first person to land on the moon, he comes in, वो उधर से निकलता है and there is already an Indian tea stall on the moon.
हाँ.
पहली बार लैंड होकर निकलता है, उसको चाय दे रहा है, बोले, ये लो सर बिजनेस.
So
अच्छा.
हाँ, sorry, one last thing before we move on. So the other things that they were proposing, right, is that they were proposing that if we can set up these colonies or some kind of infrastructure, then we'll
लोधा
send
लोधा लूना
लोधा लोधा
कनक्या
लूनर.
मून कनक्या मून शाहपुर जी पालोन जी रुस्तम जी अली खान जी
हीरानंदानी
नाउ ऑन द मून
हीरानंदानी हीरानंदानी क्रेटर्स.
या तो सीधा न्यू कफ परेड सर कहाँ है मून पे आने पड़ेगा तो
I would want हीरानंदानी there just because वहां पे वो गो कार्टिंग भी बनाएगा.
just because if we have to shoot a Bollywood movie where the hero meets the heroine at a signal, it has to be at Hiranandani. Nowhere else. Watch any Bollywood movie, they always meet at Hiranandani.
But what a wonderful melting pot of cultures that will be. It'll be an Indian builder building on the moon using the designs from ancient Rome. So anyway, what I was getting to was, once they've figured out if they can put some infrastructure up, they want to, this is way in the future, by the way, way in the future, they want to move the highest polluting industries outside the planet.
I like how our solution कि देख अपने planet की तो मार दी तो अभी सर क्या करें बंद कर दे इंडस्ट्री पागल है क्या अभी मून की गांड मार सर मून की हाँ तो उन लोगों को देखने देना सर लेकिन उधर जाके फिर उधर तो ओजोन लेयर भी नहीं है सर उधर ये निकल ऐसा नहीं कि मैं थोड़ा और करके कुछ ऑल्टरनेट
There's a lot of dystopian theories, like the time machine, the book The Time Machine. So they go to the moon and the moon, they break the moon because of the drilling, and the moon comes crashing onto the earth and destroys the earth.
They break the moon because of drilling.
Yeah,
it sounds so accurate.
Yeah,
who's responsible for this? BMC. कर कौन है इधर क्या है सर मेट्रो बन रहा है अबे
नहीं रिलायंस का वायर
रिलायंस
तो लेकिन मून के वो भी है ना कंस्पिरेसी थ्योरी कि मून इज एक्चुअली हॉलो ठीक है इट्स अ एलियंस ने आर्टिफिशियली उसको बनाया है ताकि अपन अर्थ पे उसकी ग्रेविटी का फायदा उठा सके और वो ऑर्बिट में रह सके और उससे अपना भला होगा एक एक्चुअल एंशिएंट एलियंस पे बात कर रहे हैं पब्लिक ने बोला देख एक टाइम तक तू बोल रहा था पिरामिड पे स्पेसक्राफ्ट है मैं तेरे साथ था ठीक है अभी तू अभी कुछ भी लपेट रहा है कुछ भी मून हॉलो है एलियन ने बनाया है भाई एलियन हो सकते हैं बट इट कैन मतलब अपना वो है ना एक आया अर्थ पे क्रैश हुआ और जब ये होने के बाद जो बचा हुआ ये था उससे मून बना right because it was molten or whatever the fuck earlier sorry please refer to Neil deGrasse Tyson for actual explanation
so about 4.5 billion years ago this is right like very close to where the earth was also forming there was an asteroid that hit and apparently a chunk of earth So they're saying the living beings or any living organism that you find on the moon is probably like from Earth itself. So moon is a part of the Earth.
Oh shit,
So
उधर कैंगरू
जितने
वैंगरू मिला तो
कैंगरू वहां पे नीचे बर्फ में ऐसे हॉलो हॉलो मून में कूद रहा है कैंगरू.
जिसमें
I like how all the
400
animals
बिलियन
you said
साल पहले आया.
kangaroo.
और है अभी तक. हाँ सर, मैं तो हूँ इधर
But
अकेला
I
इधर.
think the most old
बीच में दो टॉर्टोइस आए.
दो टॉर्टोइस आए थे सर.
उनको खा गया. वहां पे शार्क था. वो शार्क घूम रहा था वहां पे
मैं
पानी के
एक्चुअली
अंदर
क्वाइट
साउथ
सरप्राइज
पोल
था
में.
कि टॉर्टोइस की बॉडी का ही पार्ट है सर शेल. मुझे लगा वो पहनता था शेल.
मैंने खाया. देख मेरा दांत यहाँ पे टूट गया. मैं खाने की कोशिश की.
By the way, one of the most
For people who are confused, let us just refresh your memory that this entire conversation happened between moonfaring astronauts and a kangaroo that has been there since the inception of the moon 4.5 billion years
Billion
ago.
years ago. A marsupial.
We are very sorry that you tuned in, and we are sorry if you're not able to keep up with the highbrow comedy that
we have gone from scientific thinking to this podcast so
serious
fast.
complete antithesis. Scientific thing, we made the nation grow like that. It's a full monumental this. तो जो kangaroo है ना उधर, वो
मैंने
tortoise
tortoise को
खा रहा
खाया.
है.
you think one person takes this seriously, goes to a press conference, and when the director of ISRO is asking for questions, he says, sir,
kangaroo मिलेगा
Sir.
मून पे.
And Mr. S. Somnath is like, क्या बोला? Sir, kangaroo?
Sir,
What do you mean kangaroo on the moon? Sir, I watched this podcast. On that podcast, they said there's a kangaroo and two tortoises. इसको भेजो अगले मिशन पे, इसको डालो. Unsupervised manned mission इसके साथ जाएगी. He doesn't deserve to stay here.
Speaking
विक्रम लैंडर के बाजू में जगह डाल इसको उधर. Get out.
Speaking of absolute bullshit, I have decided to, guys, I need to know your moon signs so that I can give you your future.
I don't know. What?
Aries,
How to?
Taurus. No, it's same. Aries, Taurus. It's like sun signs.
Oh, okay, Gemini.
Gemini. You are intelligent, witty, and cunning.
Whoa.
Truly cerebral. The Gemini moon will process feelings through words. This can mean that you need a few minutes to get your witty responses together because you want to sound smart without revealing too much of your feelings.
How did your moon sign know you were about to do an episode today?
तेरा क्या है?
Hey,
तेरा
Aadar,
you
what
है.
does 2 minutes before this kangaroo was happening? Just want to point out.
हाँ नहीं, मैं एरीज हूँ. बता
Aries.
मेरा क्या है.
हवा का झोंका. हाँ. Enthusiastic,
It's going to be a
adventurous,
testing time for you.
no, adventurous and blunt. If your moon sign is Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, you probably have enthusiastic about anything and childlike willingness to try something new. Aries moon will appear as an inner child who's temperamental and wants what they want right now. Youthful spirit and traits of impulsivity and at times hot-headedness.
Wow. What is
This
yours?
is Thakur though. This is very
That is
Thakur.
so me. That is so me. That is so me.
Aadar, तेरा क्या है?
मेरा है Libra. Natural mediators, diplomatic, indecisive, idealistic. They're happy at keeping the peace and die-hard romantic. Love is all you need. In fact, you might go as far as to start romance while you're still involved in another one. By the way, I'm actually shooting another podcast on the side.
No, let's rewind back to that last sentence.
You might go as far as to start a romance while you're involved in another one.
That's a lot of words to say cheating.
Yeah.
And how do I make cheating sound rosy? You're excited to start a romance while being in one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You
Aparna,
love
be
being
careful.
swept away. You love being swept away.
Oh man, these moon signs, huh? Same exact they are. Same
They're the
date.
same.
Yes.
Yeah,
Same.
I think so.
थोड़ा मैं इधर उधर एडजेक्टिव चेंज कर लेता हूँ एक हाथ. और थोड़ा एक तेरे को अगर मैंने आज लॉयल्टी दे दिया तो दूसरे को दे दूंगा हे स्ट्रॉन्ग हेडेडनेस, तीसरे को दे दूंगा. वो ऐसे लेके ना करते रहते हैं कि चल अगले महीना में
Yeah.
ये महीना में थोड़ा यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ योर वेल्थ health. अगले बार, hey, you are
Love
exciting,
life.
new opportunities are coming up. चुप.
Business. Don't feel sad if you've lost it, but people who are still in business will see success.
Oh man,
Say, मैं जो ये तो सभी बोलती है.
that's outstanding.
Chalo,
Hmm.
on that note, let's say thank you once again to ISRO for making dreams of 140 crore Indians come true. Congratulations to every single person who's worked on it. This public, आज का होमवर्क ये है कि अपन ISRO पे जाके बोलो congrats, well done.
Yeah,
Sorry again, हम
सब
लोग हर
जाके
हफ्ते
comment
कुछ
करो.
होमवर्क देते हैं.
Please do not ask about kangaroos, tortoises,
Please,
any
Yeah.
other type of
guys,
animal.
don't do this. हमारा
Please.
insult हो जाएगा इसरो के आगे.
हाँ, no, you just go and say congratulations and thank you. ये
Thumbs
सब
up.
kangaroo वैंगरू मत पूछ.
सब लोग ऐसा MDH
वो तुम नेविल को
MDH
लिख
मसाला
सकते
की
हो. वो
तरह.
तुम
हाँ,
नेविल को
हाँ,
लिख
हाँ.
सकते हो.
हाँ, नेवल को
Ask
कैंगरू
Neville.
लिखो जाके. फट्टू कैंगरू.
Must.
Where is the picture of the kangaroo on the moon? Again, we would once again like to apologize to all our listeners, viewers, new and old. Sorry. And anyway, I can't believe. By the way,
By
kya?
the way, there's an official name for the moon. Do you know what the official name of the moon is?
Sun.
It's like
Mr. Moon.
it's the moon with
Oh,
a
it's
capital
the-
T.
Nice.
It's like the
Right.
Facebook.
You know, in
It's-
America, in
It should
America,
actually
they-
be Earth's moon, not the moon, because there's lots of moons. So in all the moons of all the planets, this moon is the moon. बाकी सब moon इसको दिखता
Unless
है.
you're Daenerys Targaryen, which is
but
sun, moon, and stars.
why are you assuming? I mean, because the moon could just be like, yeah, I am Prakash. Why are you saying all this? The moon.
गंदा मामा.
Which is good because moon प्रकाश देता है. So it's like it's making sense. तूने सोच के बोला था कि ऐसे ही तेरा witty reply
नहीं,
आ
ऐसे।
गया.
This is his lunar side. Anyway, that's it from this episode of the Internet Said So. We were talking about the Chandrayaan mission, ISRO, and other space missions across. If you have any interesting, fun stories about different space missions, let us know in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. We keep forgetting to say it up top. Yeah, and keep watching our videos. Oh, another thing. Our rover has landed on Chandrayaan. I am landing down under in Australia. So if you're in Australia, or if you have friends and family in Australia, please send them for my shows. I'm
Kangaroo. Send
touring.
them a kangaroo and tell them to go watch Varun.
Yeah, end of September and early October tickets are in the description. Thank you once again for watching. That's it from this episode. Good night. Bye bye. Take care. Salami ish.
You think Rakesh Roshan faked the moon landing?
She said Rakesh Roshan.
I can
that what-
imagine him in a
Maybe waiting
swimsuit.
to happen.
Dude, Rakesh Sharma, apna pehla man in space. Such a proud moment. Or Rakesh Roshan.
But
Om, 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 om.
ऐसा लग रहा है आपको? एक पल का जीना.
फिर तो जाना.
खाली हाथ आए थे हम, खाली हाथ जाएंगे. राकेश जी, आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? करण अर्जुन. हाँ?
ये बंधन तो
प्यार का
बस हो गया.
राकेश जी कमेंट. अच्छा नहीं, कुछ भी पक्का नहीं. सर क्या चल रहा है ऊपर? It's magic. It's magic.
Bro, listen, if
राकेश रोशन
listen,
सब
one
राजेश
second.
रोशन के गाने गा रहा है. राकेश रोशन is not saying any of the dialogues he's written. वो राजेश रोशन के गाने गा रहा है.
1 second. If Rakesh Roshan was part of the space missions, it would be Chandrayaan-1,
Chandrayaan-2,
Chandrayaan-4.
Chandrayaan-4.